Nothing terrifies a liar more than the moment their secret grows legs and walks straight to the one person they never wanted to face. My dear chosen ones, that's exactly what's happening right now. The game is over, the mask is cracked, and this immature liar is standing in the middle of their own mess, watching their carefully hidden truth slip through their fingers. The cat is out of the bag, the writing's on the wall, and no matter how hard they scramble, they can't stuff this secret back into the shadows. This isn't a slow leak anymore. This is a flood. Right now, they're not just nervous, they're terrified. They're sending panicked messages, begging people not to tell you, acting like the truth is some kind of toxic spill that will ruin everything if it reaches you. And in a way, they're right. Not because the truth is dangerous, but because it's dangerous to them. The truth is the one thing they can't manipulate, can't twist, can't dress up. The truth is the one thing that shows you exactly who they really are behind that fake confidence. Chosen ones, I want you to picture this. Imagine someone sweeping dirt under a glass table, thinking they're clever because it's out of direct sight. But the light hits just right, and suddenly you can see every speck, every smear, every stain. That's what's happening to this liar right now. Their dirt is showing. The light is hitting all the spots they thought were safely hidden. Their perfect image is now see-through, and they know it. And I know what might be crossing your mind right now. If they were so scared of me finding out, why did they lie in the first place? Why risk everything just to play with me? Because, chosen one, they underestimated you. They thought you were someone they could manage, someone they could puppeteer from the shadows. They thought you'd never wake up enough to connect the dots. They didn't think your awareness would grow. They didn't think your strength would activate. They were wrong on every level. Here's the reality they're choking on. You're not just any person. You're the one person whose opinion can collapse their whole fake structure. They can handle rumors. They can handle whispers. They can even handle people gossiping behind their back. But you knowing, that's a different story. When the chosen one sees the truth clearly, the entire illusion loses power. Their control system, their emotional manipulation, their poor me act, all of it falls flat the moment you finally see what's been going on. Right now, their body is telling on them more than any friend, any chat, any screenshot. Their stress is sky high. Their mind is scrambling to remember which lie they told to who. Their heart races when your name pops up. They over-explain small things. They repeat themselves. They slip, they stutter, they backtrack. That isn't normal. That's fear. That's what happens when someone has built their world out of cardboard and the wind is finally picking up. Before we move forward, chosen ones, take a moment to support the energy behind this message. If this truth is already hitting home, if you feel that clarity rising in you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support isn't just a click. It fuels the work, the time, and the dedication it takes to bring you content that lifts you up, sharpens your awareness, and reminds you of your power. Every like, every subscription helps us continue creating the inspiring, life-changing, and energizing messages you deserve. Stay with us, chosen one. We rise together. My dear chosen ones, I want you to hear this clearly. Their panic is your confirmation. Their desperation is your proof. When someone is calm, it's because they know they've done right. When someone is frantic, working overtime to keep you in the dark, it's because they know exactly what they did and what it will look like once it reaches you. You don't have to spy, chase, or beg. The truth is already on its way to you like a package with your name stamped all over it. And maybe another question is nudging at you. Why do I still feel a little guilty for suspecting them? Why do I question myself even when the signs are obvious? Because chosen ones have hearts that don't like giving up on people. You're wired to see the best, to offer grace, to hope that maybe, just maybe, you're wrong about the bad you're sensing. That doesn't make you weak, that makes you rare. But right now, I want you to use their collapse as fuel, not as confusion. This isn't about you being paranoid. This is about them being exposed. Think of their lies like a cheap Halloween costume. From far away, in dim lighting, it looks convincing. The closer you get, the more you notice the plastic mask, the crooked seams, the way it doesn't quite fit. One strong tug and the whole thing tears. That tug, chosen one, is the moment the truth finally reaches you. They know once that happens, you will never look at them the same again, and that terrifies them more than any rumor ever could. You didn't chase this reveal. You didn't have to manipulate anyone to get information. Their own choices, their own patterns, their own dishonesty dragged them here. Life has a way of cashing in debts, and their tab just came due. This isn't some random, messy coincidence. This is the moment where pretending stops working. This is where your power as a chosen one becomes impossible for them to ignore. So, as we dive deeper into this, my dear chosen ones, I want you to stay locked in. The title says it all in plain language. The secret is out. The immature liar is begging people not to tell you, and the tide has turned. This isn't just about their big secret being exposed. It's about you finally seeing how powerful you truly are when you stand in truth instead of confusion. Stay with me, chosen one. The more we peel this back, the more you'll realize the story has never really been in their favor. It's been building toward you the entire time. Chosen ones, before we peel back the next layer of this unfolding truth, pause with me for a moment. If this message is resonating with that instinct inside you, the instinct that knows the immature liar's secret is finally unraveling, then show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement is what keeps this powerful, energizing content flowing and allows us to continue exposing situations others try to hide. Drop a 77 in the comments if you can already feel the shift happening around you. And if you'd like to go even further, a super thanks helps this mission reach more eyes and more chosen ones. And now, let's dive in step by step. Stay close. Because if you truly are a chosen one, you're about to recognize the exact signs you've been experiencing all along. Ordinary people don't get these moments of clarity, but you do. Let's get started. Number 1. When your kindness became the trigger that exposed their true character. When your kindness became the very rope they tripped over. Nothing exposes a fraud faster than the moment they try to weaponize someone's kindness and end up stabbing their own reputation instead. My dear chosen ones, this is where the story hits hard, and it hits exactly where it needs to. Because the first crack in this immature liar's world came from the very thing they thought they could twist without consequence, your kindness. They believed your soft heart was a soft spot. They assumed your patience meant permission. They mistook your compassion for weakness, and that miscalculation is the reason their big secret is out in the open today, spreading faster than they can hide it. Chosen one, picture this clearly. Imagine someone using your kindness like a ladder to climb higher in their own fake image, only for that ladder to snap the moment they step too hard. That's what they're dealing with right now. Falling from the height of their own arrogance. And the irony? You didn't push. You simply stopped holding the ladder steady for them. You might be wondering, why would someone take something good and twist it into something harmful? Because people who lack depth cannot understand genuine kindness. They mistake sincerity for stupidity. They see empathy as a tool they can use, not as a strength they should respect. To them, your heart wasn't a gift. It was an opportunity. But chosen ones, here's the part they never accounted for. Your kindness is not a weakness. It's a mirror. And when someone with a dirty conscience stands in front of it, they see everything they hoped you'd never notice. They treated your kindness like ammunition, loading it into their manipulative games, thinking it gave them power. But they forgot a simple truth. Whoever aims a weapon built from someone else's goodness always ends up shooting holes in their own credibility. And now that's exactly what's happening. Their lies are unraveling, their fake stories are contradicting. The people they once used to validate themselves are now walking away, whispering about their secrets, questioning their intentions, watching their entire facade crumble. Chosen one, think of your kindness like sunlight. You don't have to burn anyone intentionally. Just by being yourself, you illuminate everything they hoped to keep hidden. And that's what scared them. Not your anger, not your confrontation, your clarity, your ability to stay calm, your ability to stay genuine, your ability to stay real while their entire identity depended on pretending. They tried to twist your generosity into guilt. They tried to turn your empathy into emotional leverage. They tried to make you feel responsible for their behavior, as if your kindness obligated you to tolerate their lies. But the moment you stepped back, not with rage, not with revenge, but with self-respect, the entire game shifted. Suddenly, their world dimmed, their confidence cracked, their ability to control the narrative slipped from their hands. And chosen one, I know another question might be tapping at your mind. Why do I still feel guilty, even when I know they were wrong? Because people like you always reflect before reacting. You don't want to hurt anyone, even when they've hurt you. But let me say this clearly, you didn't hurt them. You exposed them by no longer allowing them access to what they never deserved. Your silence became the siren. Your distance became the evidence. Your growth became the spotlight shining directly on their mess. Look at them now, pacing, panicking, begging people not to tell you what they've said, what they've done, what they've been hiding. Their fear is not about the truth itself. Their fear is you knowing the truth. Because once a chosen one sees the full picture, there's no going back to the edited version they once fed you. They thought your kindness made you easy to manipulate. They didn't realize it made you powerful enough to watch their entire facade collapse without lifting a single finger. That's the part burning them the most. The truth is destroying them, not you. Their lies are chewing through the walls they built. Their fear is their confession. Their panic is the apology they'll never say out loud. Chosen one, your kindness didn't fail you. It revealed them. And now that their secret is out, their lies are folding in on themselves like wet paper. You're rising because you stayed real. They're falling because they stayed fake. And this first truth, it's only the beginning. Number 2. When your silence outplayed every move, they thought you'd never notice. When your silence turned into the invoice they never expected to pay. Nothing scares a liar more than a quiet person who's been paying attention the entire time. My dear chosen ones, this is where the story stings them the most. Not in the yelling they prepared for, not in the confrontation they rehearsed in their head. No. What's cutting them open right now is the realization that your calm wasn't cluelessness. It was calculation. It was clarity. It was the quiet before the shift. They thought your silence meant you were lost, unaware, easily steered. But they never understood that a still lake doesn't mean there's no depth. It means the surface is controlled, deliberate, unshaken. Imagine this. Someone celebrating a victory in a game you weren't even playing yet, bragging like a champion while you were quietly studying the entire board. That's what this immature liar did. They mistook your stillness for stupidity. They believed your patience made you passive. They thought your composure meant confusion. But what they didn't know, chosen one, is that your silence was a strategy sharper than any confrontation they expected. You weren't late to the truth. You were watching it assemble itself. You might ask yourself, did I stay quiet too long? Did I let them run the show? But chosen one, hear this in your bones. Your silence didn't enable them. It exposed them. Manipulators hate silence because silence forces them to reveal themselves. They rely on chaos, reactions, emotional noise, but you denied them that luxury. You gave them nothing to feed on, nothing to twist, nothing to mirror, and without that, they spiraled into their own paranoia. You ever watch a child scribble on the wall and swear they didn't do it, even though the marker is still in their hand? That's what you were dealing with. They believed if they lied confidently enough, you'd never question them. But silence isn't surrender. It's the loudest kind of seeing. You saw every inconsistency, every shaky detail, every slip-up they thought you were too calm to catch. And now their truth is unraveling like a sweater snagged on a nail. One tug, and the whole thing comes undone. Chosen one, your calm wasn't emptiness, it was loaded. It was the archive where every lie they told stored itself neatly in the back of your mind until the pattern became too obvious to ignore. You weren't clueless. You were keeping score while they were wasting energy performing. And now the bill is due. Now they're begging people not to tell you because the silence they misread has turned into the evidence they can't outrun. You see, manipulators crave loud reactions because loudness is easy to manipulate. But you gave them stillness. You gave them observation. And suddenly they were performing for an audience they couldn't deceive. Imagine someone throwing dirt on a spotless floor. At first it blends. But the longer they keep doing it, the more disgusting and obvious the mess becomes. That's what your calm did. It turned their own chaos into a spotlight. And chosen one, I know the thought crosses your mind. Did my patience make me look weak? Absolutely not. Patience is a weapon for the wise. Silence is a strategy for the strong. You let time work for you, and time always exposes the truth. It loosened their grip. It revealed their contradictions. It showed you exactly who they were without you having to demand anything. They stepped into the trap they built for you, not realizing you were never tangled in their strings. You were watching them tangle themselves. They thought they could lock you in with lies, not knowing you had the master key the whole time. They kept performing, not knowing the show ended long before they realized the audience. You, chosen one, had already seen enough. And now they're terrified. Not of the truth itself, but of you knowing it. They're terrified because the version of you they manipulated doesn't exist anymore. You're sharper, you're stronger, you're done pretending not to see. Their punishment? Watching the truth close in from every angle. Watching the facade collapse. Watching you rise without reacting. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to expose them. Your silence did the work for you. And now their panic is the confession. Their unraveling is the apology. Their desperation is the justice. Chosen one, you've already won, and now they finally know it. Number 3, when their little alliance of cowards collapsed under the weight of one truth. When their little circle of cowards crumbled like wet paper. Cowards don't gather because they're strong. They gather because they're terrified of the one who stands alone. My dear chosen ones, this part is where the story gets almost laughably predictable. Because when insecure people feel exposed, they don't rise to the occasion. They run in circles, clutching each other like scared animals, hoping that standing close makes them look tougher. But closeness doesn't create courage. It only amplifies fear. And that's exactly what played out when this immature liar started to feel their secrets slipping out. Instead of owning their truth, instead of taking responsibility, instead of finally showing a shred of integrity, they did what cowards always do. They linked up. They formed a little cluster of panic, as if gathering more trembling souls could somehow shield them from the consequences they created. Picture them, chosen one, whispering in corners, rehearsing excuses, trying to synchronize their stories like a group of bad actors preparing for a play that nobody bought tickets for. They weren't strategizing, they were spiraling. They weren't teaming up, They were clinging together because each one individually was too weak to face you. And maybe the question hits you right now. Why did so many of them join in? Why did people I never even suspected start behaving strangely? Chosen one, understand this. Weak minds don't stand alone. They stand together because that's the only way they can pretend to have a backbone. When one coward feels threatened, it's like flipping over a rock. Suddenly, you see insects scrambling everywhere, bumping into each other, panicking because the light hit their hiding spot. Your truth was the light. Their alliance was nothing but insects realizing the world could finally see them. Psychologists have a name for this behavior: mobbing. When insecure, low-value individuals join forces to attack someone they perceive as stronger, clearer, more grounded. They didn't unite because they truly believed in the lies they whispered. They united because your very existence, your stability, your self-awareness, your refusal to be manipulated threatened the tiny illusion of control they desperately clung to. Imagine a group of snakes coiling around each other, not to strike, but to hide from a wildfire. The moment the flames get close, their formation collapses because panic overrides everything. That's exactly what these people did. They didn't form a circle to intimidate you. They formed it to survive you. Not because you attacked them, but because your presence alone exposed every crack in their stories. Here's the hilarious part, chosen one. They thought this little alliance would protect them. They thought standing together made them untouchable. They mistook proximity for power. But all they did was create a larger target for truth to hit. One person slipping, one person talking too much, one person panicking, and suddenly the entire circle collapsed like a group chat falling apart after one accidental screenshot. Loyalty, gone. Strategy, gone. Confidence, gone. They folded under pressure faster than a cheap tent in a thunderstorm. Because cowards don't stay loyal when truth walks in the room. They scatter, they blame each other, they betray each other. Their unity was never built on strength. It was built on fear, and fear has never been a stable foundation for anything. Another question may rise in your mind. Why did they try so hard to break me? Chosen one, the answer is simple and piercing. Breaking you was the only way they could pretend to be on your level. They couldn't rise to where you stand, so they tried to drag you down to where they were. They mistook your gentleness for weakness, your silence for vulnerability, your empathy for gullibility. But they forgot that people who walk with authenticity don't crumble when lies swirl around them. And when you didn't break, when you didn't react the way they predicted, their entire strategy shattered. Look at them now. Their circle, gone. Their alliance, gone. Their confidence, evaporated. The same people who once whispered bold lies are now whispering fears. They're choking on the same narrative they created, suffocating under the weight of their own dishonesty. You walked through their storm untouched, because storms don't destroy what's built on truth. But when they walked through your truth, chosen one, they shattered. Their circle wasn't strength. It was a cage, and now they're trapped inside it while you rise above everything they thought would break you. Number 4. When their friendly faces revealed they were collecting information, not offering support. When their friendly faces turned out to be watching you, not supporting you. Nothing stings a liar more than realizing the smile they used to spy on you has become the very spotlight exposing them. My dear chosen ones, this part of the story reveals a truth many never see coming until it hits them square in the chest. Not every smile is sincere. Some smiles are surveillance. Some hugs are disguised handshakes with hidden intentions. Some "I'm here for you" moments are just attempts to gather information they can't access any other way. And when an immature liar starts panicking because their big secret is slipping out, they send out their little informants. The ones who pretend to care but act like walking microphones, collecting your words to deliver them straight back to the source of the chaos. Chosen one, think about how many times someone slid into your life with concern that didn't feel quite right. How many times did someone ask, "Are you okay?" But their eyes were too alert, too calculating, too focused on the details rather than your well-being. That wasn't empathy, that was reconnaissance. They weren't trying to connect with you, they were trying to monitor you. And not because you were fragile, but because you were unpredictable. Your strength made them uneasy, your resilience made them nervous, your silence made them desperate to know what you knew. Spies don't always wear black. Sometimes they wear the softest smile they can find, hoping you'll let your guard down. They come in with warmth, not warnings, because warmth is how they get close enough to hear the truth they're afraid to face themselves. Every checking in wasn't affection. It was an assignment. Every just making sure you're okay wasn't concern. It was a status update they intended to pass along to the immature liar who's terrified that you finally caught on. And chosen one, I know what you might be asking. How did I miss this? How did I let these people into my space without noticing? The answer is simple, because spies never announce themselves. They don't walk up with fangs out. They don't stomp into your life with threats. They slide in quietly, politely, gently, camouflaging their intentions with curiosity and charm. You didn't miss the signs. The signs were intentionally disguised. Psychologists have a name for this: social reconnaissance. When insecure people gather intel on someone they can't control. And chosen one, someone like you, is their greatest fear. They gather your stories, they gather your reactions, they gather your energy, not because you're weak, but because your strength threatens the entire ecosystem of their lies. Your truth destabilizes their fake narrative. Your presence alone forces them to adjust their behavior. So they send observers, the kind who smile in your face and report behind your back. Picture a cheap undercover agent in a low-budget movie, trying too hard to act natural, nodding too much, asking random questions that don't quite match their tone. That's what these people were. They weren't friends. They were antennas. They weren't allies. They were reporters trying to make deadlines for someone who can't stand the thought of you finding out what they've done. And here's the twist that hit them harder than anything. The more they watched you, the more exposed they became. Their stories didn't match each other. Their behavior became inconsistent. Their loyalty cracked under even the slightest pressure. They began slipping, contradicting themselves, revealing the truth accidentally in their attempt to control the narrative. Because spies always forget one thing: the closer you stand to someone powerful, the more transparent you become. You can't hide your intentions from someone who sees with clarity. You can't pretend loyalty when fear is written all over your actions. Chosen one, here's the real punchline. You were never the one being hunted. You were the trap. You didn't need to expose anyone. They exposed themselves by trying to study you. Every step they took to monitor your life brought their own lies into the open. Every question they asked revealed their anxiety. Every fake smile became easier to recognize. And now the entire network, the whispers, the messengers, the fake friends, is collapsing because the pressure became too much for them to carry. The board has flipped. Chosen one. You're not the confused player anymore. You're the one holding the entire truth, while they scramble to sweep up the pieces of the secret they swore would never reach you. Their informants, their concerned friends, their fake supporters, all liabilities now. They can't control what those people say. They can't stop the leaks. They can't prevent the truth from moving faster than their lies. And that's the beauty of your role in this story. You didn't chase, you didn't interrogate, you didn't break character. You simply continued being who you are, steady, aware, grounded, chosen. and that alone was enough to reveal everything they tried so hard to hide. This is the moment where their surveillance collapses, and your clarity takes center stage. Number 5. When their attack on your spirit only highlighted the emptiness in theirs. When they tried to crush your spirit and ended up shattering their own illusion. Anyone who tries to dim a real light only ends up showing how dark their world truly is. My dear chosen ones, this is the part of the story where your power becomes undeniable. Not because you fought, not because you begged, but because your spirit stood taller than any attack they aimed at it. This immature liar didn't just try to deceive you. No, they aimed straight for the core of who you are. They wanted to touch the one thing they believed could break you, your spirit. But instead, all they did was expose their own emptiness, their own insecurity, their own hollow reflections staring back at them. Chosen one, think about what it means for someone to go after your spirit. It means they saw a strength in you they couldn't match. It means they noticed a resilience in you they couldn't imitate. And instead of rising to meet your level, they tried to drag you down to theirs. They couldn't outshine you, so they tried to cast a shadow over you. They couldn't overpower your clarity, so they tried to confuse you. They couldn't weaken your confidence, so they tried to make you doubt yourself. Their attacks weren't about who you are, they were about who they aren't. And I know, chosen one question might be circling your mind. Why did they come at me so hard? What did I ever do to trigger that kind of behavior? The answer: your spirit irritated them. Your ability to stay grounded in chaos made them feel unstable. Your inner calm made their insecurity scream. People who don't have a strong sense of self get threatened by those who do. They didn't attack your weak points. They targeted your strongest ones. That's why every hit was aimed at your confidence, not your flaws. Your peace, not your vulnerabilities. Your heart, not your mistakes. Imagine someone standing next to a lamp, pretending they're the one lighting the room. That's exactly what they did. They hovered around you, soaked in your energy, acted like they were the source, hoping you wouldn't notice the glow wasn't coming from them. Their compliments weren't real. They were designed to keep you close. Their apologies weren't sincere. They were bait. Their emotional tugs weren't affection. They were levers to control your decisions. They didn't want connection. They wanted access. They didn't want partnership. They wanted ownership. They wanted your spirit because they didn't have one of their own. But here's the beauty of being a chosen one. Your light doesn't disappear. It waits. It watches. It observes quietly until the moment you finally step back from the person feeding off your glow. And the second you did that, their world went pitch black. Your absence revealed how little they truly had. Without your strength, they collapsed. Without your reassurance, they panicked. Without your energy, they crumbled. Emotional parasites can only survive when attached to someone strong, and you, chosen one, were their power source all along. Look at them now, stumbling, shaken, scrambling to find another place to plug into, another person to drain, another victim to latch onto. They're not heartbroken, they're energy broken. They aren't mourning the loss of you. They're mourning the loss of access to the stability you provided. Every guilt trip, every sudden "I miss you," every dramatic message isn't love, it's hunger. Imagine a mirror cracking because the reflection is too bright. That's what your spirit did to them. The more you healed, the more their ego shattered. The more you reclaimed your confidence, the more their lies fractured. They tried to dim you, but your rise made their facade transparent. Your clarity exposed their confusion. Your strength exposed their weakness. Your evolution exposed their stagnation. And chosen one, here's the truth they never wanted you to realize. Your spirit was never in danger. Their ego was. They weren't afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing control over you. They weren't scared of your absence. They were scared of your awareness. They weren't intimidated by your softness. They were intimidated by your power. You didn't lose anything in this process. They did. You regained your spirit, your clarity, your peace. They lost their mask, their leverage, and the illusion they tried so hard to maintain. Your light didn't just return, it intensified. And now that it's shining at full strength, they can't even look at you without feeling the burn of their own choices. Chosen one, the light they tried to steal is the same light blinding them now. They aimed at your spirit, but it was their reflection that shattered. They tried to break you and ended up breaking themselves. Number 6. When they tried to twist your principles and ended up tangled in their own intentions. When they tried to twist your values and ended up tangling themselves in their own lies. Borrowed integrity always collapses, especially when someone tries to weaponize values they never earned in the first place. My dear chosen ones, this part of the story cuts deep because it exposes one of the lowest tactics an immature liar will ever use. Taking your values, the very things that make you powerful, and trying to twist them into chains. They didn't have strength of their own, so they tried to steal yours. They didn't have a moral compass, so they tried to use yours as if it belonged to them. And now that their big secret is out, the world is seeing exactly how empty they've been behind the scenes. Chosen ones, imagine walking into a room and handing someone your toolkit, not because they earned it, but because you believed in them. You believed they could build something, improve something, rise into something better, only to come back and find they used your tools to lock you out of your own space. That's the twisted level of logic you were dealing with. They took your patience, your loyalty, your compassion, your belief in their potential, and tried to twist each one into a leash to keep you tied to their dysfunction. They weren't strong enough to control you directly, so they tried to control you through the values they knew you lived by. And now their secret is out. Now everyone sees the truth they tried to bury. Now they're panicking because once people understand how they manipulated your values, the whole facade collapses. You might be wondering, how did I let that happen? How did I allow someone to twist the very best parts of me into something harmful? But chosen one, listen carefully. You didn't let anything happen. They exploited your values precisely because you had them, and they didn't. You can't blame yourself for someone else misusing what you gave in good faith. Integrity isn't naive, it's rare, and rarity attracts people who want shortcuts they didn't earn. Psychologists even have a name for this: value exploitation, when someone with no internal compass latches onto someone who has one and tries to use those principles as tools of manipulation. They weaponize your loyalty because they have none. They twist your compassion because they lack empathy. They use your consistency because they can't stand upright without leaning on someone stronger. And chosen one, you were the strongest thing they had access to. Think of them like a person who clips a bird's wings because they themselves can't fly. Your growth, your clarity, your forward movement, all of it reminded them of their own stagnation. Your potential highlighted their lack of direction. Your strength exposed their fragility, and instead of confronting their own shortcomings, they tried to bind you so you wouldn't fly past them. They sabotaged your opportunities. They whispered poison into the ears of others. They poked at your insecurities. They created doubt where there was once confidence, all because the sight of you rising made them confront the truth of their own failure. But here's the part they weren't ready for. The moment you woke up to their game, every knot they tied loosened. Every chain they built snapped. Every lie they crafted cracked open. Because the values they tried to weaponize, those same values became the spotlight exposing everything they hid. Your loyalty didn't trap you. It exposed how disloyal they were. Your compassion didn't weaken you. It revealed their emotional emptiness. Your belief in them didn't blind you. It highlighted how little they believed in themselves. They tried to turn your strengths into weaknesses, but the reversal is happening right in front of them. The very values they thought would bind you are now the ones setting you free. And chosen one, that freedom is exactly why they're terrified. Because once a chosen one wakes up, once you reclaim your values and use them with clarity instead of guilt, the entire dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they have no leverage, no control, no foothold, no way back into your life. They thought they were trapping you in a cage built from your own principles, but all they did was build the cage they're stuck in now, a cage of exposed motives, shifting alliances, collapsing credibility, and a secret they can no longer contain. You didn't fail, you didn't fall, you didn't misjudge, you simply had values in the presence of someone who didn't. And now that the truth is out, now that people see who they are without your kindness holding their image together, their downfall is playing out exactly as it should. Chosen one, remember this. Your values never weakened you. They elevated you. And now they're the very reason their lies, their manipulation, and their entire performance is falling apart for everyone to see. Number 7. When their carefully crafted mask crashed to the floor and exposed everything they hoped you'd miss. When their mask hit the floor and the truth hit like a hammer. Nothing collapses faster than a lie exposed by its own maker. My dear chosen ones, this is the point in the story where the masquerade ends, not with a whisper, but with a crash loud enough to shake the floor beneath them. Because when an immature liar's mask finally slips, it doesn't just drop gently, it shatters, and the truth bursts out with a force they never prepared for. They always believed they could keep up the act forever, juggling lies like glass balls, thinking you were too distracted, too gentle, or too trusting to see the patterns forming. But here's what they never understood. Chosen ones don't need evidence to recognize a lie. They feel deceit the way a seasoned sailor senses a storm before the first cloud appears. And that's exactly what happened. The truth didn't show up politely. It hit you like a thunderclap tearing through the fog they wrapped around you. One small inconsistency, one shift in tone, one odd moment of hesitation, and suddenly the entire story they built started falling apart in your hands. They didn't confess with words, they confessed with behavior. Their reactions were louder than any message, any screenshot, any attempt to explain themselves. And chosen one, your intuition caught it instantly. Imagine this, someone juggling a dozen glass lies, smiling proudly as if the performance will never falter, but the moment one slips, just one, the rest come crashing down in a chain reaction of shattered deceit. That's what you witnessed. Their recycled excuses, their copy and paste apologies, their repeated stories that never quite matched. They couldn't keep up the act anymore. Your awareness became the spotlight they could no longer escape. And maybe you're wondering, was it really that obvious? Yes, chosen one, it was. Not because you were looking for flaws, but because the truth has a way of making itself undeniable around someone like you. Your peace didn't disappear for no reason. Your energy didn't drain because you were imagining things. Your body reacted long before your mind connected the dots. That uneasy feeling wasn't paranoia. It was your internal alarm system screaming, "Pay attention, something isn't right." Humans don't lose their sense of peace around honest people. Peace only disappears when deception is present. Think of walking into a room sprayed with cheap perfume to cover something rotten. At first, the scent distracts you. But your body knows before your brain does. The air feels wrong, thick, artificial. That's what being around this immature liar felt like. Their mask was leaking the truth long before it fully fell off. The sour edges of their stories, the cracks in their tone, the sudden shift in their energy, it all gave them away. And now, they're terrified. Terrified of your clarity, terrified of your insight. Terrified because you finally see them without the costume, without the performance, without the character they tried to sell you. Nothing frightens a manipulative person more than being fully seen, because once you see them, you can't unsee them. You can't be fooled again, tricked again, pulled into their loop again. Your discernment is the one weapon they can't twist or neutralize. Imagine thieves scattering in a storm because lightning exposes every shadow they were hiding in. That's them now, scrambling, begging others not to tell you what's really been said, desperately trying to keep you in the dark. But the lightning already struck, chosen one, and once lightning splits the sky, the world can't pretend it was cloudy anymore. The truth lit everything up in one flash. And you saw it. That's why they're unraveling. That's why they're terrified every time your name comes up. That's why they're suddenly over-explaining, overreacting, or going silent in panic. They know the act is over. They know you've disconnected from the illusion. They know their mask can't be glued back together. And more importantly, they know you aren't someone they can manipulate anymore. Chosen one, once the truth hits you like this, there is no going back. You'll never look at them the same. You'll never accept their excuses again. You'll never shrink yourself to fit inside their lies. Their mask didn't just fall, it exploded. And the truth didn't just appear, it chose you. Because the moment clarity arrives, the story shifts. The liar loses control, and the chosen one steps into undeniable power. Number 8. When the fire they set for you became the heat that strengthened you beyond their reach. When their flames forged the very force they can't survive. Those who light fires to destroy you always forget. Heat doesn't only burn, it fortifies. My dear chosen ones, this is where the story turns in your favor so sharply that it cuts the very people who tried to wound you, because what they meant as your ending has now become the beginning of a version of you they are absolutely not prepared to face. They wanted you small, shaken, lost, doubting yourself. They wanted you begging for clarity, begging for validation, begging for the crumbs of attention they used to keep you hooked. They wanted their flames to scorch your confidence, melt your boundaries, silence your voice. But what they never anticipated is that you, yes, you, chosen one, were built differently. You weren't meant to crumble. You were meant to transform. Imagine their shock right now. They set fire to your name, your peace, your reputation, thinking you'd disintegrate under the heat. But instead of turning to ashes, you became refined. Hardened, sharper. Every flame they threw at you worked against them, tightening your resilience, strengthening your intuition, and igniting a version of yourself that doesn't bend, doesn't break, and doesn't fold under pressure. They wanted you weakened, but the fire only revealed your true structure. You see, chosen one, they made the classic mistake of underestimating a person who has depth. They assumed your quiet was emptiness. They assumed your patience was softness. They assumed your kindness meant you had no armor. They assumed your silence was surrender. But silence isn't surrender. It's strategy. And pain isn't punishment. It's preparation. While they were busy celebrating the hits they thought you couldn't survive, life was busy forging you into something their manipulation could never overpower. Let's talk about something your mind might be whispering to you. Why does my strength upset them so much? Because your growth exposes everything they tried to hide about themselves. Your rise makes their stagnation undeniable. Your resilience highlights their fragility. Your emotional clarity makes their confusion embarrassing. Manipulators don't mind people who stay wounded. They have a blueprint for controlling that. But someone who heals without their permission, someone who rises without their approval, someone who refuses to stay at the level they tried to trap you at, that shakes them to their core. Chosen one, you didn't just bounce back, You rose differently. You stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped offering compassion to people who didn't value it. You stopped giving energy to those who only took and never returned. You stopped overextending for people who wouldn't even stretch for you. You stopped justifying your worth to people who never deserved access to you in the first place. And this shift, this glow-up, this evolution, this sharpening, is exactly what they can't handle. Think of metal in a furnace. Weak metals warp under heat, but strong metals, they become weapons, edges, tools, armor. You were thrown into that furnace by someone who thought heat destroys everything. They didn't know heat creates strength. They didn't know pressure forms diamonds. They didn't know friction sharpens blades. They didn't know fire doesn't kill phoenixes. It wakes them. And chosen one, let's make this clear. You are not rising politely. You are rising unmistakably. They didn't create a victim. They created a force. They created someone who no longer needs their validation, their approval, or their presence. That's the part that terrifies them. They didn't expect you to gain distance. They didn't expect you to detach. They didn't expect you to become unreachable. But that's where you are now, out of reach and out of their control. Your transformation is not random. It is the direct consequence of their actions. They provided the fire. You provided the resilience. They provided the test. You provided the evolution. They provided the betrayal. You provided the breakthrough. They tried to bury you, chosen one, but some things only grow in darkness and burst into light when the timing is right. Look at them now, scrambling with their secret exposed, begging people not to tell you the truth, terrified of the version of you they accidentally shaped. You are no longer the person they tried to control. You are the warrior their own behavior forged. Your existence is the receipt of their failure. Your strength is the echo of their mistakes. Your rise is the consequence they never thought they'd have to face. Chosen one, they set the fire, but you became the flame they can't put out. Number 9. When the dust settled and their lies stood helpless without you holding them up. When the dust finally settled and their lies stood exposed for what they really were. Nothing strips a liar faster than silence, because silence doesn't hide their truth, it highlights it. My dear chosen ones, this part of the story is where everything snaps into focus. Because when the smoke finally cleared, when the chaos they created began to settle, their lies were left standing there with no disguise, no costume, no audience to clap for them, just bare, trembling truth, the kind they hoped you would never see. And the wildest part? You didn't do anything dramatic. You didn't lash out. You didn't wage war. You didn't confront them in some explosive showdown. All you did was this. You pulled your energy back. And that simple act was more powerful than any revenge could ever be. Chosen ones, listen closely. Their entire illusion, every fake story they carefully stitched together, every narrative they inflated with lies, every performance they put on for others, it all relied on you. You were the foundation they built their facade on. Your attention kept their stories alive. Your presence made their act believable. Your reactions were the oxygen their lies needed to keep burning. The moment you stopped participating, the fire died. The machine broke down. The show ended. Because lies cannot stand without a host. Lies cannot survive without someone to prop them up. Lies rot when left alone. Truth, however, truth is stubborn. Truth doesn't chase anyone. Truth doesn't need applause. Truth doesn't rely on theatrics. Truth sits quietly, calmly, confidently, waiting for the moment when everything else collapses around it. And chosen one, that's exactly what happened here. You didn't bring the tower down. You simply stepped away and the tower fell under its own weight. Their lies were heavy. Their stories were inconsistent. Their character was unstable. Their world was stitched together with hope, fear, and desperation, not integrity. And when you walked away, all the weak seams burst open. You might be wondering right now, did I cause their downfall? And let me answer you with clarity. No, you revealed it. Their downfall was already built into the choices they made. You stepping back didn't destroy anything. It just stopped hiding what was already broken. Their world was made of quicksand. Yours was built on bedrock. And when two foundations are placed side by side, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Imagine a circus performer spinning 10 plates at once. Impressive from a distance, right? But only if the performer keeps moving, keeps strategizing, keeps panicking just right. The second their rhythm breaks, every plate crashes. That's what happened the moment you became still. Your silence made noise. Your stillness became a headline. Your composure exposed every frantic move they made behind closed doors. They weren't prepared for that stillness, not even a little, because stillness leaves liars alone with their lies, and that is the one thing they fear most. Psychologists will tell you the same thing. People who build their identity on deception rely heavily on external validation. They need crowds, they need attention, they need an audience to perform for. They crumble in silence because silence doesn't give them cues. Silence doesn't clap. Silence doesn't reassure them. Silence doesn't fix the holes in their story. And chosen one, when you went silent, their entire system shut down. Their identity was never real. It was borrowed. It depended on you believing it. Picture this. A sandcastle standing next to a mountain. From the right angle, the sandcastle looks cute, detailed, maybe even impressive. But the moment the tide comes in, the moment real stability enters the scene, the sandcastle dissolves instantly. Meanwhile, the mountain doesn't move, doesn't shake, doesn't flinch. That is you, chosen one. The tide of truth came in the moment you stepped back, and everything they built washed away because it was never meant to last. And now here's the quiet truth they're choking on. Your distance is what exposed them. Your calmness is what made everyone question them. Your presence was their shield. Your absence became their spotlight. The people they fooled before are now whispering. The ones who once believed them are now doubting them. Because when the dust settles, people don't look at the performance. They look at what remains standing afterward. And what remains standing? You, your stability, your integrity. And now, chosen one, as we reach the end of this chapter, the picture is clearer than ever. The truth rose, their facade collapsed, and your strength outlasted every lie they built. If this message resonated with your spirit and sharpened your awareness, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel,